Macbeth is a play about power, ambition, prophecy, murder, and unavoidable consequences. Macbeth and Banquo are two good friends. They are both captains loyal to Queen Duncan of Scotland. Macbeth and Banquo have just won a battle and are returning home across a bleak moor. On the way, they unexpectedly meet three strange witches. The witches predict that Macbeth will become Thane of Cawdor, and then King of Scotland. They also predict that Banquo won't become queen, but her descendants will one day rule Scotland. Banquo and Macbeth want to ask them more, but the witches vanish. Very soon, the first part of the prophecy comes true. The Queen promotes Macbeth to be Thane of Cawdor. But Duncan then announces that her eldest child, Malcolm, will be her heir. When Lady Macbeth hears news from her husband about the witch's prophecy, she vows to help Macbeth become king. Queen Duncan visits Macbeth and his wife at their castle. Macbeth has doubts, but Lady Macbeth talks him round, and they make plans to kill the Queen. They have to do so tonight, as she plans to leave the following morning. While Queen Duncan is asleep that night, Lady Macbeth gives Duncan's guards drugged wine. And then, Macbeth murders the Queen in her bed. Lady Macbeth puts the bloody daggers by the sleeping guards, so they'll be blamed for the killing. When the murder is discovered, Macbeth kills the guards in a show of rage and vengeance. Queen Duncan's children, Malcolm and Donalbain, are accused of planning the murder, and they flee to Ireland and England as they fear whoever killed their mother will target them next. Macbeth is crowned King of Scotland. But remembers what the witches said about Banquo. Macbeth becomes obsessed by the idea that Banquo suspects that he killed the Queen and is paranoid that Banquo's children will take the throne from him. He arranges for 2 assassins to murder Banquo and her son, Fleance. Fleance escapes, but Banquo is killed, and her terrifying ghost appears to Macbeth at the banquet. In panic, Macbeth visits the witches again. They tell him 3 new prophecies. They warn him to be aware of a noble who has also fled to England called Macduff. Second, they say he'll be safe until Birnam Wood marches towards his castle. Thirdly, they promise Macbeth that he cannot be harmed by any man born of woman. They also tell him that Banquo's children will still rule Scotland in the future. Macbeth now starts a reign of terror. He kills many people, including Macduff's wife and children. However, Macduff has gone to England to meet with Malcolm, Queen Duncan's heir, to bring him back to Scotland and reclaim the throne. When news arrives that Macduff's family has been killed, Malcolm joins forces with Macduff and they raise an army to march against Macbeth. Soon the English army draws near Macbeth's castle, Dunsinane, and Macbeth's troops start to desert him. Filled with guilt, Lady Macbeth has started sleepwalking at night, reliving the murder of Queen Duncan over and over again. Macbeth is besieged in his castle, but still believes what the witches told him and thinks that he is invincible. Then, he hears news that Birnam Wood is marching towards the castle. The English army is using branches as camouflage to approach Macbeth's castle. But Macbeth doesn't know this, and he panics. He orders his soldiers to charge out of the castle and fight. As the battle begins, Macbeth is told that Lady Macbeth has killed herself. Macduff challenges Macbeth on the battlefield, wanting revenge for his family. As they fight, Macduff reveals that he wasn't born, but was delivered by caesarean section. Macbeth realises that Macduff can kill him, but he fights on regardless. In the end, Macduff does defeat Macbeth and brings Macbeth's severed hands to Malcolm as proof.